oss, vi som är här live i Visby. Vi hör kyrkklockorna i bakgrunden ringa 9. Många vet jag kommer att följa det här senare, under sommaren eller under hösten eller till och med långt senare. Därför att det samtal som vi ska ha nu är verkligen någonting som behövs för flera år framöver och som är akut att hantera nu, men där många kommer att för första gången få fördjupa sig i de autonoma fordonen. Hur långt har utvecklingen kommit? Vad krävs för att inte vi i Sverige, Norden och Europa ska tappa fart i omställningen? Vad händer redan i andra delar av världen? Vilken lagstiftning vill vi se framgent? Och vi ska inte ha det som är det ständiga formatet på Almedalen, ett panelsamtal, utan något mycket, mycket finare. Vi ska ha först en rejäl introduktion till ämnet så att vi verkligen kan lära oss om de autonoma fordonen från den kanske absolut främsta experten som man kan få hit till Almedalen, nämligen Vivetha Natterjee som är Head of Autonomous Product and Deployment på Bolt. Och först så ska Vivetha få ge sin introduktion till ämnet så att vi fattar det bättre. Och sen så har Vivetha och jag ett fireside chat om detta. Och där har vi också möjlighet för de som är här live. Tyvärr ni som följer på länk, lite svårare för er eller ni som tittar i efterhand. Men vi som är här live har en unik möjlighet att till Europas kanske främsta expert på området få ställa våra viktiga frågor. Och då börjar jag med helt enkelt att en varm applåd för Vivetha. Varmt välkommen.
Tack så mycket.
Och du pratar svenska på ett sätt som är helt imponerande eftersom du faktiskt ska ha en annan bakgrund. Men du ska få köra svengelska, byta fritt fram och tillbaka. Delvis också för att många av termerna i autonoma fordon ju är engelska, så det blir svengelska av sig självt. Take it away!
Ja, tack så mycket. Det är planen. Hur ska vi göra? Ska jag stå och sitta?
Jag tycker du sitter. Jag tycker vi sitter så trevligt här.
Okej. God morgon, damer och herrar. Jag kör på så här. Engelska, jag är bättre på det. Jag låter klock på engelska. Det är vad jag tänker. Jag kan svenska, så kan vi prata svenska senare också och vi kan ta frågorna. Planen idag är att vi ska ge lite state of the art på autonomous mobility. Inte robotaxi, det är viktigast. Vi pratar inte, robotaxi är en teknisk, yes, men autonomous mobility, hur ser Europa ut? Hur kan Sverige klara det? Det är vad vi ska se idag. Och när vi presenterade den här titeln online, folk sa Europe is not slacking, Europe is not losing this, Europe is being cautious. Men det här är en values race. Vad är Europa? Vi har vunnit den här automotive revolution. Vi har OEMer som har varit här för 150 år. Men nu ser vi en helt annan paradigm shift. Vad betyder det för Europa, också för Sverige? Det är vad vi ska se idag. Vi ser hur långt jag kan på svenska. Vi ser det också. Ja, state of the art. Det är inte en jämförelse. Det bara betyder att hur de sätter deras business model eller government model. Det är vad den här slide betyder. United States, alltid som, move fast, patch later. So do everything, go. If you have a robotaxi, put it on the road. If something goes wrong, I'm going to open and check the hood. That's how it's been, yes, but they have been successful in deploying this as well. Then there is China. Coordinate centrally, scale fast. The good thing there is there's a lot of government investment into mandated demos, infrastructure, and so on. Europe, we are cautious, but we are right by design. Inclusion is key, safety is paramount, etc., etc. 3 different models, but if you look at the commercial operations, US has 450K plus already today. Commercial, meaning they are making money out of it. They're not making profit out of it, but they are making money out of it. Different deployments, Waymo included. China, multiple, again, and they're also growing really fast. They have a back and forth because of the safety norms that are changing and regulation that's changing. In Europe, I'm being very generous when I say there are 35. There are many, many, many moving vehicles A to B, 400, 500 of those. At any given point, 35 is what we understood from Claude as well. So I go with that because people are going to go check if my statistics is true with AI as well. But let's look at the market. Okay, what is Europe worth? Everyone talks about there is no market for Europe. It's only for US. How can we look at the market here? Robo-taxis and robo-shuttles are a priority because that's going to generate money, that's going to generate income for companies like us who want to do it. But that's not the end game. We also have autonomous trucking, we have Volvo trucks, Scania, Tretton, all these things. But the risk that we are facing is that not that the technology is not ready, it's that the infrastructure is not ready. This goes for both Europe and Sweden. But let's look at the market a little bit. This slide is to show the left-hand side, if you see that. Everyone talks about US as the biggest market. Yes, but Europe is the second biggest market if you see the 42.8 billion evaluation, the GMV there. What does this mean for bolt markets? Maybe I should introduce Bolt as well. For those of you who don't know Bolt, we are not only scooters, we are also taxi ride-hailing company. Some cities and countries that we go to in Europe, they say, oh, you're the scooter company. No, we actually have more than 50% of our GMV coming out of our taxi business as well. So yes, but we are not only in Europe, we are also in Canada, in a different brand. We are also in Southeast Asia, and so on and so forth. So if we look at the market analysis of how, for Bolt markets, how it looks like is if you put EU markets, UNECE, and other global markets together, there is an opportunity by 2035 to have 170,000 autonomous vehicles on the streets. And now this is where US and Europe differs. This is not just about taxi. This is about, we are not fighting against public transport. We are fighting against the private car segment in Europe. It's about the second car that everyone wants to buy, including myself. I'm a mother of two. My weekends go on drive to football, drive to piano classes, and so on. This is what we are trying to avoid in Europe. But in US, they are trying to optimize, oh, we don't have public transport, let's put so many robo-taxis. That's why the volume is different and the cost business model is different for that. So coming to Europe. What does that look like? It's not just about cannibalizing taxi businesses. It's about also bringing autonomy in public transport. Everywhere we go, the capex is really high. People talk about, Europe is not capex friendly. People talk about that. But the capex is really high if you think about public transport. The investment, the tenders that go into buses and trucks, and it's amazing. So autonomy is about a scale of multimodal transport as well. So if you look at it, 450 billion, something like that, is what we are, 50 billion is what we are looking at. And then the famous quote everyone says, to the far right there, the famous quote that everyone says is, robo-taxi, it's the driver. You're removing the driver from the seat. This is going to save us 85%, give and take. This is where the money is for. This is where the companies will make profit. The reality is far away, far, far away from this. This is just a standing, looking at labor cost and stuff. But that's not the only thing. And you know this, Matthias. You have been here, you know this. It's not just about removing the driver. The infrastructure should be ready. There should be regulations in place to do this. We cannot just remove a driver. It's not safe. We need to prove how safe is safe enough. It's a completely different presentation. We will not do it today. But however, it's important to show based on statistics and data, validating the systems and so on. So when we do our market sorting, market analysis, we don't just go by, oh, this is the number of drivers we are going to fire, and now we will get this much money. No, today the tech is not making profit. Let's be very honest about it. And this is Europe's biggest self-inflicted obstacle in our own perspective. It's not to say that this is the holy grail, but the problem today is there is no EU AV law. And those who are familiar with it, you will say, oh, but there is 1426, that's a European law. There is a slide coming about it as well. But robotaxi is not a tech problem, like I said. It's a deployment problem. It's operational. There is nothing that holds us together in Europe. The good thing is, on the right-hand side, there is something coming out Q1 next year. It was signed 2 weeks ago in Luxembourg as well, where Bolt also proudly launched our first program. It was also signed across 18 member states that there will be mutual recognition. This is brilliant. This, even US doesn't have it. What does this mean is if we can deploy in Almedalen, this will be recognized also in Hamburg. if it is deployed. Today, I mean, that is one of the problems, right? There are so many deployments, not many, few, happening in Hamburg, but we cannot just bring those vehicles into Sweden. But tomorrow, this will be possible. That's the good thing. Europe is going in that direction. We are identifying the problems, and we are heading towards it. You will all look at this slide later as well, so I will not go through it one by one, but I want to grasp on to the key points here, so we can have a good discussion as well. And when I say, and everyone says, the homologation, the EU setup is completely fragmented, what does this mean? This is our version of, we just utilize the German law to show it, because it seems to be famous. Until a few months ago, I was 15 years in automotive, so I'm an automotive OEM person, Volvo, Geely, and so on. So when I joined Bolt as leading this autonomous mobility, the whole wave, it's a brilliant time we're all living in, because this is the second wave of autonomy, but the first wave of agentic AI. It has aligned. That's why physical AI is possible. There is a lot of money coming in again, so we are able to do it. The first thing, or coming from OEM, we always said, oh, the vehicle is not ready, the tech is not ready, how safe is safe enough? There is no regulation that is solving it. And that's basically just the first two portion, the type approval aspect of the piece of the puzzle. But the service area approval, that's even more fragmented. So today, just for using Germany, if I want to deploy, say, in Berlin, I need to get deployment approvals from Berlin, from the county, from nation, and also Europe. The technology is European, which means for each software upgrade I do, I have to go back and do this paperwork. And also in Germany, I don't know how many of you know this, the taxi, they are not allowed to just keep doing driving around. They have to go back to their hub. That's the law, and it is crazy. And it's impossible to believe this, but it is true. And imagine the operational cost coming with moving your taxi, one ride, go back to the hub, one ride, go back to the hub. No, we want to avoid that. We want to avoid vehicles being on the streets all the time and going up and down, just burning oxygen. So yeah, this is just to show how fragmented this is. But also, like I mentioned before, there's a lot of work ongoing, European level, national level, including Sweden. I mean, 2016-17 Drive Me project, already then we have the ethics law in Sweden. We are marching in that direction. The problem, also UK, the problem is that there's a lot of arbitration happening national level, and we don't want that. We want to be able to scale, so European, yes. Inclusion is key, and this is also the Bolt DNA, but also we want to be able to talk about it in a way that autonomy is not a monster, okay? We all know that 3 to 5% of the urban population cannot drive due to disability or young or old, so on and so forth. Inclusion, and someone very wisely said, people are dying more due to loneliness than because of smoking cigarettes. That's the reality in Europe. Let's include them. But if you ask me, can't you put and people have asked this, can't you put a car that goes from just end of that suburban area to city? Yes, I can, but it's not scalable. It's not profitable. And if you say, but we have capex, I will give you 5 million euros, put one vehicle. But then it's an operational hazard. The lifetime of it, there is no total cost of ownership as well. So for any company that wants to come and invest and move a vehicle A to B, it has to be in the thousands, not in the tens. Okay? But I will come to it. There is a nice slide showing how we can reach there as well. What is important also, the design imperative. We always have this afterthought that, okay, let's fix the tech, and then we will put a ramp so that the wheelchair can go in. No, we have to think of this from the beginning. It's not just about wheelchair. It's about inclusion. It's about hearing, sight, but also mental illness, feeling safe, trusting the vehicle, and so on. It's all about inclusion. So let's not think that let's fix the tech and then put the vehicle, fix the vehicle later. Quickly, why Bolt is a right player? I will do that too. Matthias asked me, break me in between, it's okay. From now on, you can break me. Yeah. Bolt, we have 200 million customers, okay, globally. We are not, I will be very honest, let's be candid. We are not saying that we are the best. No, we are, in Europe, in our markets, we are either 1, 2, or 3. If you are not one, we are two. Mostly not three. I think in one market we are three. Which means we have the operational infrastructure to it. Okay? We already understand this puzzle. It's also deployed in 600 plus, but if you ask our market team, it's 850 plus cities. That is scale. We are present in 23, already now it's 24 EU states. We have also expanded. And we have 4.5 million drivers and couriers on platform. Keep in mind, it's not just passengers, the drivers and couriers. Me and Roger, we were talking to people yesterday. We have 4,000 people in Bolt, born out of Estonia, if people don't know it. 4,000 people, but everyone else is an entrepreneur. All the drivers are an entrepreneur. They are their own owners. Why is Bolt so important? And this, we sing the song everywhere. Europe, as its DNA. We are built from Europe. And we have all the partnerships. We build on partnership. We don't build in-house, in-house, in-house. And we have a plan to go for AV, and we will look at the plan as well. But when I joined Bolt, there are so many things we can talk about Bolt, but when I joined Bolt, there are 3 things that I thought was brilliant. This is good. This is the best platform to start for autonomy. One is because there is a software acceleration. Everything about pricing, deadhead logic, and so on, that is already in place. The second one, which is the operational infrastructure. Soon, all the vehicle, all the software will become a commodity. What will make money, what will thrive, what will build job opportunities is the operational infrastructure, okay? Not just blue-collar jobs. I'm talking about real AI acceleration in operations, okay? Why we are fit for it? We already have localized operations in each country and each city. It's not like Bolt goes with Swedish. I'm from Gothenburg, so don't mistake this as a Swedish organization, if I don't look very Gothenburgish. But it's also to make sure. I was in Spain, for example, meeting the authorities, trying to talk to them. Hey, what should we do? How many licenses and so on? And they really appreciated Bolt. And for me, for a newcomer to Bolt, it was a very good pedestal to stand. They were like, yes, Bolt is very listening. You're always in the edge of the seat, trying to understand what is needed rather than imposing. We said, yes, that is our motto. That's what we want to do. And the key to all that, including Roger sitting here, who probably, I'm a first-timer in Almedalen, not Roger, so most of you know him. I joined and I said, I need 20 people who are policy people, who are regulation people, because Bolt, you have done your ride-hailing platform, now it's an automotive business. I need 20 people. And they said, hi, look, we have 50 people working on policy already. 50 brilliant minds that are sitting in each city, each country, sitting in parliament, in European parliament, sitting there and making change. And they already have the network, they already have the contacts. So now it's so easy when we go to a city or to a country, we go with the local policy person and the local GM. Speak the same language, both literally the same language, but also the technical language. This is brilliant. It's important for us to be able to make the impact, to understand, and so on. So already then we are 5 steps ahead. For me, this is the biggest strength that Bolt has, that we are not, even though we are late to the party, the autonomy party, we will not be the last to finish. We'll be one of the first to finish. Yes, we talked about scale. Operations is what's going to escalate this process. This is Bolt's vision on AV. 100,000 vehicle, you must have heard this number everywhere. It's not just a 100,000 vehicle, no. It's structured in a way that we understand the vehicle is the most cost intensive and the labor intensive, meaning any small hardware change we need to do, it's going to cost us money and time. So that's what we have to crack first. So we are going for a vehicle platform with multiple agnostic AV setup. Okay, as simple as that. Please talk to me later if you want to understand our tech framework. But this is more about the 100K. How do we go there? So the early 2026, 27, we are planning to go with pilot programs like we are doing in Luxembourg, and we are looking into other cities. There will be more coming soon, announced soon. But around 1 or 2 years, we should be able to have a scale of thousands of vehicles to be able to understand the operation, not to move from A to B. That a master thesis student can do from Chalmers or Koteho. They can move a vehicle A to B, but to show at scale the operation as well. And our ambition, with also the standardization and regulations coming into place next year, we should be able to get a whole vehicle type approval to scale to 100K. And looking at talking to different cities and countries, it seems to be plausible as well. and Sweden. My dear Sweden, which has been my home for 16 years now. We are the moral edge of Europe. We are the ones that set standards on, hey, Vision Zero. How long ago? Not now when AV is a big deal. How long ago we have started talking? In 1997 is my recollection at least. 2.8 is a magic number. This is a magic number, literally. This is not just Sweden saying Vision Zero, not saying traffic safety, not saying, but systematically over decades we have worked and tuned and fine-tuned the different infrastructure to be able to bring down this rate as well. Yes, I am sorry that this is an accident rate or this is a fatal accident rate. We should go on incident rate when we talk about KPIs for AVs and so on. But with this slide, what we are trying to show is that this should be the minimum. This should be the KPI that we set to AV, that because we cannot go with the American stats, then it's us at 100 million miles, 50 disengagement. That's American style driving, American roads. We need to go for Europe, and we need to set the framework based on Swedish standards and make this a global standard, yes. And now, as you can see, when I say we have fine-tuned, also organizationally, we have fine-tuned. There are so many organizations that are working towards this. There is money invested into it. Is there an amalgamation into this? That's a debatable one. But there are so many organizations that are working towards this goal as well, including 2030 Secretariat. But one slide about that. So if we go through this 100K, if we follow through the plan, what we talked about now in previous slides, the simulation shows the target that you have for 2030. We will reach at least 38% of the CO2 reduction, 23% less congestion, and 40% lower energy use. How is that possible? It's those three pillars in the bottom. All AVs are electrified. That's Bolt's ambition. There are some that are doing hybrids as well. Bolt's ambition, all AVs are going to be electrified. And if you combine that power with shared AVs, there is going to be a multiplication in decarbonization. Okay? Simple math, simple physics as well. What does this mean? That cities should say, I only want electrified vehicles. We cannot say, bring whatever vehicle in whichever part of the world, and we will know electric vehicles. Then there is also the combination of organizations, Trafikverket, Drive Sweden, 2030 Säkrar, that can set up the digital infrastructure. Now this is about data, sovereignty, etc., etc. There is so much. There is a lot of discussion going on this. The problem is the onus is on us who are operators to own this data and do right by it. This is not GDPR. This is data that is a fuel to the entire operation. We have to own it as a country. We should have digital ownership of the data so we could monetize that as well. Why are we being so public? We don't have to do that. We could, as a country, do much more utilizing the data for traffic safety, not just for AVs, but for traffic safety, to be able to see how our infrastructure is, the physical infrastructure is, and so on. And then I know there is a lot, you talk a lot about AVs as grid assets. That is also something that we could do. If there is control over the data points that are here, utilize that in the low peak hours and charge the vehicles around that and utilize the energy consumption during that period as well. Spread the energy consumption. So I said I will also show you how, yes, there will be people that we can move from suburban to urban. Think of this robotaxis as a way to spearhead the technical foundation. Okay? Soon, in a couple of years, we will be able to move people from suburban to urban. And then sooner, this will also become truck hub to hub. Valet parking, all these things will be in place, so we could go also robo shuttles between different cities. And then by that time, within 10 years period, even the private cars will become more autonomous. That's the end game in terms of autonomy, that everything is autonomous. Once everything is autonomous, what happens? There is less speculation on what is safe enough. The vehicles can talk to each other. They will be safer. They will need less infrastructure to park here and there. They will consume less energy because they're all electrified, etc., etc. As you see, it's Västra Götaland. And I think, from this angle, it looks like a heart. Like I said, I'm from Gothenburg. I make a joke of it all the time. But the key is that scalability is not, please don't ask us to deploy something in Torslanda, in Gothenburg. No, that is not scale for us as any operator, you know. We should be able to see the big picture and deploy in big, larger regions to even break even by 2035. Okay? And one thing, this is again, because I want to use the platform that Vivetha Secretariat has, the question about drivers. We are going to lose, and this is not just in Sweden, but the drivers are going to lose their job. This is not going to happen. There will always be a setup where there is a combined fleet that is going around. However, what we are, nu vi bollar här också. What we have here is the drivers suddenly have become small fleet entrepreneurs. In the beginning, they were just drivers to taxi. Now they're small fleet entrepreneurs. Sooner, they can be AV safety operators. And we as Bolt, we are looking into upskilling with licenses needed for safety operators and so on, or for existing drivers. And then sooner, they can be remote operations manager. They can be the fleet owners in the future. So there is a career path for people coming from big organizations. Career path is a big deal. There is a career path for drivers as well. And this is to show that we think about the drivers, the riders for safety, but also about the society. And that's what we call the inclusion part. And these are the 5-point mandate. We have talked about all of it now. We have to harmonize the regulation, not just the vehicle, but the whole infrastructure. We have to anchor in Vision Zero as the European and global standard. We have to design for inclusion from the beginning, build a liability bridge. We did not talk much about it, but think of it as we are building airplanes without airports. Please, the countries have to take care of the airport. Don't ask the tech companies to fix the airport. As simple as that. And then what does that mean with airport is putting a ribbon there, saying I will do the security check, all that stuff. You know, all the things that comes with it. I think it's a good analogy. So build that bridge for the deployment as each country and each, as Europe as well. Build for operations at scale. This is close to heart. And that brings me to the last of my presentation. Let's do it smarter, not faster.
Well, Vivetha, I think we already on day one at Almedalen got the TED Talk of Almedalen 2026. That was so impressive, and I know that I, for one, am absolutely going to go back to that recording and have another look at all those slides and all the data that you so generously shared. And I think that we understood how relevant, that's also why we embrace it at the 2030 Secretariat, how relevant autonomous vehicles are for the targets that we had agreed upon. The Vision Zero, which is of course about traffic safety, the climate targets that we agreed upon. And also, and I loved how you emphasized that, also the marginalized people who should really be a part of society much more than today. So I love you for bringing up that, but I want to understand better, what's in it for you? Why do you bother as Bolt?
Oh, two things. One is ride-hailing with the app that is software is a saturated business already. Yes, we can scale different markets to make more money. This, also according to Marcus, this is the 100x. This is the next step to transportation, mobility per se. And there is money. Of course there is money. Who's doing it for no money?
Right.
No, of course there is money, but it's not the kind of money that we see, we make it, oh, let's build this and sell it to a big company that will come and consume us. No, not that kind of. However, we are very startup-y in building it. But there is also a sense of giving back to the society. Mm-hmm. I think that's what pulled me into Bolt as well. It's not like, hey, let's deploy these vehicles. Yes, tech, we can solve it. Let's do it. No, but let's make sure Europe is first. It's EU first. We are in other markets, but we are going EU first. But also to give back to the society in terms of, that's why we take it on us as, I don't know why we do it, but we take it on us that we have to go educate, that this is possible. This is challenging, but this is possible for Europe. Why don't we have this big AI companies in Sweden as yet in terms of automotive? There are no software companies that can deploy, there is no European company that can do it, and so on. So we take it on us to start also doing that it is possible. There are values that we want to have, brand identities we want to save and secure. However, it is important that Europe also puts a bet into this pocket, yes.
And the reason I ask is that I am, or at least I was, a member of one of the big German car manufacturers' sort of secret think tank. And when we discussed autonomous vehicles there, they said, well, the reason for them is that with autonomous vehicles, they want to sell more cars. Who would ever want to go by public transport if you can just relax, sit back in your car, have a sleep and go to Gothenburg or watch a movie and go to Gothenburg. So they say this is going to be a great driver to sell more cars. And it seems to me that your vision is quite different. So how do we ensure that sort of the right vision in terms of all those targets that we agreed upon, that the right vision wins this game?
I don't think they are wrong in that thinking as well. They will sell more cars, but in a fleet, not on a private segment. We could look at already now, including Sweden. Sweden is a good benchmark for these things. Young people don't want to own cars, right? It's clear. Yes, OEMs want to sell more cars, but young people want more autonomy in terms of, I don't want to pay for parking and so on. Where can I take my scooter to go on? So the trend shows that the private ownership of cars are going to reduce. And like I mentioned earlier, public transport, this is the difference between Europe and US as well. In the US, it's a different story. They want to sell more cars because there is non-existent public transport in some states. But in Europe, it's more about empowering public transport. Our micromobility, the scooters, are always to a transport. And this is how we should see it. We should have one Västtrafik app or Skånetrafik app that says that, take this trip, go to this hub, and you will reach there to take a train to go somewhere. That's how it should be at the end. It shouldn't be about adding more cars to the streets. No.
And you just the other week started up in Luxembourg. I looked at Luxembourg on a map. It doesn't look like a heart. Västergötland does look like a heart. Why Luxembourg and not here?
The very honest reason is they have a sandbox model. They are not drained by different regulation, and this is what we talk.
And so, just so we're all on the same page here, sandbox. You're allowed to try things out in a way that you're not allowed to in Sweden.
Yes and no. So their approvals are national level, which sort of speeds up our process. They do have communal approvals as well for service area, but everything that goes through one authority, national level. And this is something that we are trying to adapt as well with Drive Sweden and Trafikverket. How can we attract more the Waymos and the big companies to Sweden is if we can have and this is a wish list, a single party approval for all these different, that at once solves the hassle for a company to go do, I'm doing a software upgrade, I go to you to get this, I go to you to get, no. If we can harmonize that, suddenly that will be good.
I don't want to sound cynical here, but good luck with that. Do you expect that to happen?
I want it to happen.
I know that, but do you expect it to? And can you build a business model on such assumptions?
But surprisingly, I forgot the name, Thomas, but we spoke with Trafikverket, the ledningen. In Sweden, most of the things are already national law.
Right.
It is utilized in different communes, not utilized in all communes. In Sweden, surprisingly, most are national law, which is then good. Then it's all about building a framework that says in Sweden, everything, if you want to do it in Almedalen or in Borås, you can have a path that is national. So there is possibility. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's challenging, but it's possible.
And also, so you already mentioned Luxembourg repeatedly. In Oslo, the capital of Norway, Rute, which runs the public transport, they are looking and are starting to have autonomous vehicles for the last or first mile, sort of to combine with the more traditional public transport. Is that also part of your vision?
Yes, but not the first step.
Okay.
It's not scalable. It can be on a pilot level, and I really commend what Rute is doing in Oslo for the last few years. And they are already doing this multimodal in their app and so on. But last mile, first mile, even though that is the biggest bottleneck that we want to solve, we think we want to solve today, that's not where we can scale. We need to be able to scale on a much larger ODD.
Can we just take one step back and dig a little bit deeper into what you're doing in Luxembourg? What are we, I asked your colleagues, can I go there and see it now? Can I try it out? And it seems that while you can go to US and have an autonomous vehicle drive you around with Waymo, for instance, that is not necessarily the case in Luxembourg as yet. So what's going to happen there, and when can we all start taking autonomous rides with Bolt?
It is true that it's not fully autonomous today. What we have launched now is we have fleets of cars. We have set up operations. We are automating homologation, if that is even a word. So what we are doing is we are building the infrastructure, meaning that we are going to run, now we have 5 cars, not many, okay? 5 cars that's going to drive around and be able to build the the safety conformity data, that I can drive, I have the right sensors for all different weather conditions. At the same time, we build the operations where it is automated, the cleaning, the maintenance, how often, how many safety drivers, and so on, that part. The third one is the in-service reporting. There is a full portion in the EU regulation that you have to report to the authorities. The authorities don't know what they want. We don't know what is actually needed. Should we give everything? So we are building the physical and the digital infrastructure, and this is why we call it a living lab. And if you want to take a ride in Luxembourg, Q1, Q2 next year is the plan that you could be there. Q1 already with safety driver, Q2 without safety driver is the ambition to be in Luxembourg. But there are more news coming on multiple markets, so Europe will see more of Bolt cars. So.
Tell us about it.
Can't much. There are some countries, I could say, that have already the national law set up, which is paving way for or attracting different companies to go launch there. So you will hear more about the countries and the cities soon.
And of course, when you say some countries, we all want one of those some countries to be Sweden. And we are right now in election times, the 13th of September, 8 o'clock evening. We are going to start our work with the new government, whatever the new government is. What kind of decisions do we want them to do during the first 100 days?
I think, like I said, the very low-hanging fruit is, can we make a single entity that can cater to all the autonomy needs?
Yeah.
A single entity. Not saying that it should be... A single
entity, you mean like let's let traffic do it all, for instance?
Exactly.
Right.
Let's decide, that's a low-hanging fruit, decide that they will have people across different organizations. Maybe it is different approvals that we have to do, but maybe Trafikverket can do it across. That's the most low-hanging fruit. The second is to be able to, and I don't know, we are David versus Goliath here. Okay, we have American companies, Chinese companies that are investing a lot into it. I think we have to start investing into the infrastructure part of it. And it's very sad. I don't know, it's a good thing to say in this stage, but we are selling more than we are building more in Sweden today. We are, the use of infrastructure in the future, I know Bill Besikny, they sold it recently, and I was like, no, this is what's going to make money for Sweden in the future. We have to have it national, otherwise, yes, they will still be here, but how do we control it? It's like the fuel. How do we control, whoever controls the fuel will have majority, etc., etc. So please start investing on infrastructure would be my next request.
And investing in infrastructure, what kind of infrastructure are you looking at?
Both digital and physical infrastructure.
Right.
Countries like Germany, Spain, others, they are asking us, build your data center here, because they already know that that's where we are going to need a lot of data storage and so on. Build your data centers here. What is Sweden saying? We don't have anything like, do this, this, this. If someone comes to us today, we don't have a list of things. Do these things, you will get a deployment. We are like, please come to us, please come to us. We cannot be a sponge all the time. We should be able to have the harder side of the sponge as well and say, you need to bring these to the table.
And of course, most people are watching this through those cameras. But those of us who made the effort of being here live, I want to give you the privilege of asking a brief question. If you have one, just raise your hand. Yes, we do. Do we have a mic coming up? You know what? Just say it loud, and I will repeat it in my microphone. Yes, you.
Will be controlling us in the way that you really get empowered and you get the good flows in the streets, and it becomes even more safe.
Thank you so much for that question. So the question, first part of it was city deployment in the future. Is autonomous vehicles going to give a whole different city where personal cars driving by humans is not going to be the future?
No. That's not what, at least I expect out of Trafikverket. It's impossible dream to say, let's block Lindholmen and then put only autonomous vehicle there. No. This will be a very organic process that will happen in the future. That, like I showed in my animation, that there will be autonomy spreading as technology, and in the future, everything will be autonomous. what Trafikverket can do is to be able to, for example, let's not show that we have, we come to cities and say, we want to deploy 30 cars, 100 cars to break even. The Trafikverket should be able to say, listen, this is our ambition with Vision Zero. This is the condition here. We want to be able to break even with 50 cars. That's what you get. So change the game in terms of feed us what is necessary for your city. That's what I mean. And that's what I mean with Sweden being able to do it. And that is the first step, right? So you say, hey, bring 50 cars in this area. We know that this is what we need for the traffic. Then I can say, oh no, 50 cars is not going to make me money. I want more cars. That's a different story. The second thing is that when you say bring 50 cars, then there should be an infrastructure where you say, you know what? All the data that you have, the KPIs you have, you send it to AI Sweden. I don't know, somewhere. They can point at them, and they will make sure that all your KPIs are met. You will not say that you are safe. I will make sure there is a safety net for both sides, right? That it's not I that's going and say, hey, it's safe enough, let's deploy it. But Trafikverket or an entity can empower that and say, okay, now we are making a joint decision. This is the airport versus airline as well. The third one there is also dictating in terms of jobs. That, okay, you need to have an entity here. You need to have people here. You need safety drivers, remote operations. Everyone should be based out of Sweden. Your data model should not go outside of Sweden or Europe, so on and so forth. You know, the invisible infrastructure as well. But this should all go hand in hand. And today it is different entities that you have to go talk to, and maybe Trafikverket can bring that together.
A standard that everyone has to hook into.
Yes, if there is a standard, I would be very happy, but there is none. And I
understand there is none, but from a vision perspective, it should be great for the cities if it was a standard that everyone can hook into and even be forced to hook into. So when you enter the city, you're not in control. The system will lead you to where you want to go, whether it's with Bolt or it's my private car.
Exactly. Agree, and let's not also make it more nationalistic. UK is trying to do that we will bring something in, and then we will deploy everything in UK way, but then it will become very arbitrary, more for UK. Let's have something that can zoom out into at least European level.
I want to build on a T-shirt that I saw here in the audience that says, "We're not stuck in traffic. We are traffic." Can you help us out here with more autonomous vehicles? Do we get a different kind of city? That's also related to the question we just had here.
Absolutely. I think today we underestimate the power, the strength of vehicle-to-vehicle communication. Within Volvo cars, they can talk. The Volvo cars can talk to each Volvos, but not car-to-car. There are consortiums in Europe happening today, as we speak, to build this. But if you see to San Francisco, a Waymo and a Zoox, they met and they got, oh no, who goes first? Because they are both very offensive drivers. Waymo expected this to behave like a human and just drive away. This one expected the Waymo to drive.
They're very defensive.
They are offensive. They don't go on defense. They are always waiting for the human to do the mistake. So they get blocked. So this is not to say just having autonomy, I deploy autonomous vehicle, you deploy autonomous vehicle will not make the world safe. This is why the infrastructure should dictate that you should talk to each other and make it safe.
We have time for one more last question, otherwise I have a bunch. Yes, please. Here, first row.
Hej, Thomas Axelsson, Drive Sweden. Lysande presentation. Ni har tagit de mesta av frågorna redan, men då har vi bara geopolitik kvar, som är roligt. Det pratas ju om att man behöver europeiska spelare inom det här området. Bolt är ett bra exempel. Men tekniken kommer ofta någon annanstans. Är det ett problem, eller är det något som vi redan har? Att liksom Audi-bilar har Kina-teknik redan, eller hur ser du på det?
Geopolitics, last minutes.
Jag kan försöka på svenska också. Vi får se. Nej, det är sant. USA, det är inte bara kinesiska, men icke-europeiska. USA och kineser som har så mycket, they are so forward in the technology. I dagsläget ser vi, 20 år sedan kom icke-europeisk folk hit och de lärde från oss. De förstod hur vi bygger bilar, hur vi bygger trafiksäkerhet och sånt. Nu, we have to swallow our pride and double desk with them to understand the technology. Okay, that's the first thing. I think I have no pride in trying to understand or escalate Europe for better if I can learn from someone else. Andra sak, vi som Bolt har alltid, vi förbereder för tips om en ICT som är i USA. Det kan hända i Europa, the Security Commission. Det kan hända i Europa också. Hur kan vi klara det? Bra fråga. Det är också tillbaka till din. I dagsläget sätter vi, även om vi har signerat med Pony också, som är en kinesisk företag. Vi har sett 2 saker, väldigt grundläggande. Ingen av er modellering ska hända i Kina. Alla data vi äger, Bolt äger data. Ni får access till data. Och vi förstår ni vill ha perpetual license into the data to build the models. Det är okej. Men modellering ska hända i Europa. Så de har byggt, they have an office in Luxembourg as well now. Data center in Luxembourg. Och sen var det fråga om, men vi måste ha the mothership. Vi måste, it gets better with modeling outside. No. Even if it takes time, it's okay. The mother model, father model, should also be in Europe. All the data caters to it. Det är okej om vi använder data från Luxemburg, Sverige, Tyskland och allt. Det är okej, det är helt okej. Men vi ska bygga europeisk modellering i Europa. För att vi betalar kan vi sätta den här krav till dem också. Men jag hoppas det ska vara en krav från lagledningen också.
Vivetha, very last question. We've been focusing on the OEMs, the car manufacturers. We're focusing on the policymakers. Let's focus for the last question to you on ourselves. What do you want each and every one of us to do in terms of moving faster into autonomous vehicles?
Ooh, good question. Normally I'm in a tech conference. I can answer this very quickly. I have zero clue here. What can we do? I think one comment and one warning. The warning first, autonomous vehicles are easy to trust. If anyone has been on an autonomous vehicle, in 5 minutes it's a boring thing. That's the end game, right? It should be boring. It's not a wow at the end. Please don't over-trust your Teslas that you drive today, for example. Always be aware if you're responsible to be on the seat, be responsible on the seat. And the comment about autonomy is that whichever company we are all working in, I think the world is going in that way, with physical AI, embodied AI coming into play and so on. Please talk about what can we do about autonomy. How can we help each other to bring autonomy to Sverige? And how Sweden can be, what can Sweden do? And I can sit here and from my OEM cap and my Bolt cap, I can think of things. I think it's more important that as public, we talk about, is autonomy a boon or a bane? We have to more talk about it and bring change from inside.
I think rarely during 45 minutes at Almedalen have we increased our knowledge so rapidly. I want to thank you, Vivetha Natterjee, and I want to thank Bolt for this brilliant presentation. And for those of us who are live, nästa konferenspunkt börjar här 10:00 igen. Man hinner precis ut i solen och hämta kaffe och komma tillbaks. Och man hinner prata vidare med Bolt. Och för alla som följer detta på nätet, stort tack för att ni följde. Thank you once again. A great applause to Vivetha.
Thank you. Thank you for being a lovely crowd. No difficult questions.